All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is HD Starcraft, and I'm coming at you guys with Game 2 from the Zotac Cup, apparently. And this is going to be Liquid TLO as the Teal Zerg player at the top left-hand corner of the map. And his opponent is, of course, Empire Happy, the blue Terran at the bottom right-hand corner of the map. And this has been a pretty interesting start to the game. If you guys didn't check out Game 1, definitely check it out. Widow Mines for the win, I gotta say. And used really nicely by Empire Happy, really applying pressure and, you know, taking out drones and in the early game, and then when the push came to shove, his Widow Mines came through, taking out all of TLO's mutas pretty quick fashion. Now we are going to be here on Game 2. This is a small map, and you know, this is one of the maps that actually I feel like if you do get into, you know, late game scenario, it does tend to favor Terran a little bit more than it favors Zerg. And the reason for that is this is actually just one of those places where it's hard to control a fourth and a fifth hatchery if you are a Zerg player. If you think about it, this is TLO's fourth and this is his fifth, and they are just right in the middle of the map, of the playing board. And you know, if you do get into a late game scenario, I do think that Happy will have an advantage here on this map. Bit of a, I guess, a pause or something going on here, which of course does not show under replay setup. But yeah, I don't think we're gonna see no quick command center coming out for Happy here, because it's a smaller map. You have to be a little more careful, not to mention you are playing against TLO, so it's probably wise of him here to go for a barracks first and make sure that he has some Marines to cover his butt. And actually, instead of Marines, he is going to be going for the Reaper. So you know, I love the Reaper opening. It doesn't, you know, it's just quick and easy way to scout the enemy Zerg player. And on this map, actually, it's a little hard to get the Reaper into the main. You have to jump from here to here, then to here. It's not that hard, obviously. You could just go toot, toot. But you know, a couple of queens placed in the right spot, like here, can usually defend against Reapers pretty easily, because they don't have quick access into the main. They do have to do that two-step. So we'll see what happens here. Happy going to be bringing one Reaper out, actually has a second one on the way. And, you know, these things, they don't do that much damage. They're just mainly used for scouting nowadays. Rarely do you ever see a game end because of Reaper harass, because queens are, you know, so adept at dealing with them. Note the expansion coming up here for Happy as well in the production tab, and here comes the Reaper actually taking the long way around, checking the natural first, and now going into the main base. Gonna start to get a couple of shots off, but Zerglings are coming in, and of course the drone, when it is actually, one is gonna go down there, but TLO, you know, even though he loses the drone, he kills off the Reapers, so I think it's a worthy trade right there. Obviously he was busy trying to save the drone, but also busy trying to surround that Reaper, and ended up both players losing a little bit right there, but no big deal. There is a second one on the map somewhere. No, actually, I guess he canceled it. He realized, well, I lost the first one, no reason to build a second, I suppose. And now going straight up into factory. No barracks coming up here, so I do think we're gonna see mech here from Happy, and he's gonna swap it immediately onto the reactor. And I think he's going to start to produce some Hellions here. Starport actually going to come out for Happy right away as well. So quick medevacs will most likely be what he's going to go for, and probably going to be seeing some drops as he really techs up quite quickly. He's got two geysers running at the same time. So Happy here really ramping up the technological advancements here for the Terrans. And what will he go with on this tech lab? It's going to be really revealing, and it is going to be stim packs. So I guess since he did put the barracks on the tech lab and he started to research stim, we are going to see at least some form of bio here. I might have jumped the gun when I said we're going to see mech. There is actually a Viking coming out for Happy, so he wants to try to get rid of all these overlords first. And on a map this small, not a bad idea. You can really corral the overlords all up into the top left-hand corner, make sure that the Zerg doesn't have any vision whatsoever. And, you know, on this map, there's a lot of nice spots for Overlords to hide, so having a Viking out there is not a bad idea. Look, you can see TLO has placed his Overlords over these little, you know, Overlord parking spots. And when that Viking comes out, it's going to be able to take these guys out, because unless a Queen is nearby. So I like the strategy here from Happy. as his Viking is... Where is it? Where is his Viking? Oh, here it is. It's over here on the right, and it is starting to pick off the first Overlord already. So one Overlord gonna go down, and the other ones that are way out on the nowhere, no man's land, are pulling back home right now because TLO doesn't want to lose any more than he needs to. Pretty smart decision right there. In fact, all the Overlords are going back home right now. You can see that Viking has a flight plan right here, and TLO wisely, you know, retreating his scouting units. The only problem is now he doesn't have any vision whatsoever, and oh no, where have we seen this before? Hellions running into the drone line yet again, and TLO just doesn't have any forces here to defend against this. He is going to be able to kill off one of the Hellions. 5 drones have gone down already. It's not a mismanageable number, but if he loses any more, it's going to be really difficult for TLO, and he needs to save his drones. He's going to lose 6 and 7, 8, 9, and 10. So 10 drones in total going down there, and not a good start for the little one once again. Although he might be able to pick off this Viking for free. No, he will not. You know, who am I kidding? Even if like 5 queens come in there, the Viking will just fly away. And now the little one, I think he's going to try to go for a counter attack. There is a medevac making its way over, loaded with Marauders. That's interesting. And I guess Happy here is gonna try to snipe a building, and I don't know if he saw any like major structure or anything like that. Not like a spire. I'm not sure why he's bringing Marauders over in this medevac, and I think he's just going to swap these out for Hellions. I really don't know. Yeah, I think he's gonna swap them out for Hellions because Marauders here, they're not gonna really get anything accomplished. And we'll see what happens. I guess he's just going to post out here for a little bit. But there are some Zerglings making their way on the left-hand side of the map for TLO here. Uh-oh. And he's got Baneling Nest. He's going to try to bust through the natural expansion here. And, oh, that Viking will not see the Zerglings and Banelings. And at the same time, it looks like Happy here is going to be able to take out this expansion. So we might have an eye for an eye scenario here where both players kill off an expansion apiece. And here comes the little one. He's gonna bust the bunker down, and these SCVs and meals have got to get back home. But the supply wall actually lifts up because TLO basically, Happy basically has to save his main base and sacrifice SCVs and meals at that cost, because otherwise his entire main would have been raided. And so the little one comes out absolutely huge in this setup, in this engagement. He's gonna be able to kill off 9 workers of his own. And now he's just gonna post outside the natural expansion. What a brilliant play by TLO. And Happy didn't even see it coming. And now Banelings are gonna try to bust through the wall. You can see Happy gonna try to erect some more buildings to keep his base alive. It looks like he'll be okay as he brings his Hellions back home. But that was a dangerous situation right there. And you see how Happy was basically forced to make a decision. You know, either he loses the game if he keeps the supply depot wall down, because the entire main base is going to get raided by Zerglings and Banelings, or he sacrifices half of his base, the natural expansion, to keep his main base alive. And I think he made the right decision there. But now he is at a serious disadvantage. He's only got 29 SCVs left alive. And the little one now going to really start to run rampant. Now the question is he going to just sit back and play a more passive game, or is he going to keep the aggression on? It looks like Happy is the one who's going to try to go for a counter here, and he is going to force the cancel on that hatchery. Very nice play by Happy, and in fact, the little one is still on 2 bases. Remember, this expansion here did go down earlier on, and TLO still hasn't gotten it back up and running yet. So Happy, if you can keep TLO on 2 bases, might be okay here. Zerglings and Banelings coming in, but the medevac immediately evacuating those forces. And a couple of Zerglings out here as well, but they don't want to run into that wall of fire. They will get destroyed very, very quickly. And the little one, realizing that, is going to pull his forces back home. Vikings still going around the map hunting for overlords. Unfortunately, there is no overlords to hunt for. That Viking could actually land down and kill off that Zergling right there, but the TLO is going to pull it back away. Then a couple of spine crawlers going down here. The crawlers are going to get down just in time and ward away those Hellions, and really risky business here for TLO, because if he doesn't have these crawlers up, you know, those Hellions will just run right in, and these drones are completely gonna go down like instantaneously. In fact, Happy has so many Hellions right here. I would say he could probably just run behind those spine crawlers and take out those drones if he wants to. A couple of mutas here coming out as well for TLO. Gonna try to do the tech switch into air here. Unfortunately, some of them getting picked off in the middle of the map, and this game is really, really close. You know, both players doing some serious damage against each other to start things off, and now things have kind of settled back down. Both players trying to vie for map control in the middle here, and now you can see TLO is going to try to go for the 4th hatchery. This is one of the hardest expansions to hold on to if you're Zerg. Will the little one be able to do it or not? He's bringing all of his forces in here, but there's just so much Hellions. The flamethrowers going in every which direction. And TLO doesn't have the forces here to deal with that, and he might just lose the 3rd expansion as well. Crawlers here trying to hold their own. Bailey's going to try to come in as well. Will they be able to connect on the Marines? And it looks like they will do a decent job, and actually TLO, you know, forcing these forces to continually pull back away from the medevacs, and now these mutas can pick off the infantry underneath without medevac support, and Happy cannot continue this engagement. He's actually going to lose his Viking too, and these 2 Hellions aren't going to get too much damage done before these mutas clean him up. So a very nice job by TLO. Great defense right there. Both players have lost about 13 workers apiece, and this game is going to be real close. One thing, of course, is Happy does not have a 3rd expansion. He's going to try to get that going pretty soon here. Upgrades rounding out at 2-2 for the Terran side, and they are already 2-2 for the Zerg. No Hive coming up yet. The little one will want to get Hive tech going in order to stay on top of his upgrades, and if he wants to get ultras out, that would be a good idea as well. Trying to get the 4th hatchery back up at the same time as the 5th. Now, once again, I have to say, on this map, it can be difficult to hold on to a 4th and 5th if you are Zerg. And we'll see what happens. This map's also very good for medevac dropping along the edges of the map. They're just direct paths into all the expansions by air. TLO is going to fly over here. Gotta be careful with those mutas. He actually has, let's see his flyer upgrades here, just flyer attacks. So these mutas are pretty susceptible to marine firepower, and they're not going to do all that much damage until they get +2 at the very minimum, which is on the way right now. Bailing speed finally coming through as well. The little one's been defending without bailing speed, which makes his defense even that more dramatic. And now it looks like Happy is setting up shop here at the 3rd expansion. Very wise for Happy. Doesn't want to fall behind in bases. Couple of minefields around here as well. And Happy right now, I think, is just in defensive turtle mode. Try to make sure this expansion goes up and fully functional. Wouldn't be surprised to see him lay down some buildings in front of this command center to make sure it stays safe at the same time. And the little one here actually going to fly around the backside. There is definitely an opening here for these mutas to do some damage. They're going to be able to kill off a few SCVs here, it looks like. At least the buildings, which is always nice. No SCVs actually going down there because the mutas were targeting supply depots and bunkers. And obviously TLO just doing whatever he can. He's got to be careful here. Oh, those Marines are going to stem up, and one Mutalisk is going to die, but TLO pulls the rest of them away. And back over here, the Banelings obviously having Baneling speed now, so they are that much more deadly against Happy's forces. Happy relying pretty heavily on that biomech, which is so strong in Terran versus Zerg. Marine Widowmine is basically the name of the game now for most Terran players. And I remember back in the days when Happy was, I believe it was Happy who used to go a lot of mech. That's why I kind of got excited when I thought he was going to go with a mech opening. But it looks like most Terrans now are just sticking with the biomech, which is basically no siege tanks really, just Marines and Widowmines. It is so good against Zerg. And yeah, we'll see what happens here. Both players are at 2-2, but 3-3 is on the way from the NG base. And the little one needs to get a hive down. I'm actually a little surprised he doesn't even have the infestation pit up yet. There it goes. Gonna start to make it right now. He really doesn't want to fall behind in upgrades because, you know, there's a big difference between 2-2 and 3-3. Muta count still remaining quite high here. And this is the key for Zerg. Dealing with this type of army, you need a very large muta count. And TLO has done a very good job keeping his mutas alive here. He's going to fly in. Look how quickly he does damage with those mutas, and immediately those SCVs coming through to repair that bunker. Widowmines here, one other threat with this mutas. If you fly over a minefield and you're not careful, you can lose these mutas very, very quickly. And that is why TLO is actually kind of flying in little spurts right here. You don't want to just fly really quickly because the Overseers are not as fast as Mutalisks are. And if you make the mistake to fly them out without keeping them together, then you can lose your mutas pretty quickly. So yeah, we can see here, he's taking out these Widow Mines. One advantage to having enough mutas is you are able to pick off mines before they, you know, proc the Widow Mine, the Sentinel Missile. So here comes TLO. He's gonna try to get these Beanlings in, but he is unable to really connect with the core of the army. And both players, they're just playing a game of fire, knowing that at any moment one player can get burned pretty badly. Hive Tech now coming up, and once that finishes, I would expect TLO to get 3-3. He is still trying to fly around and figure out if there's an opening here, a chink in the armor where he can get these mutas in. Both players are maxed out. He's baited the Marines out into the open here, but he's got to be careful. The problem with this map is even though you bait the Terran into the open, it never really is the open. There's tons of ramps and crevices and narrow choke points, and you got to be real careful as Zerg when you're dealing with this. And now Happy pushing out into the middle of the field, actually killing off a lot of those Overseers, it looks like, putting TLO under supply. 13 Overlords now coming out to replenish the fallen ones. Bunch of Banelings coming out here, and TLO gonna try to get a pincer maneuver done, but he doesn't have his Banelings quite ready yet, and TLO starting to lose a lot of forces. He is gonna have to go in now, and he's got a lot of mutas and Banelings. Will he have enough firepower to take out Empire's Happy's army? It looks like he will, and Happy here doesn't have any reinforcements coming. Where is the wave of reinforcements you expect to see from Terrans? And here it goes. You know, the infantry has arrived, but it isn't enough, and I don't know if Happy's macro is just not as good in this game. You can see he's floating 2k minerals, 1.4k gas, and that is a big problem. If you are Terran and you're going for this Marine Widow Mine strategy, you better have macro like Tasia. You got to be able to be having those Marines and Widow Mines coming out and reinforcing your fallen warriors very, very quickly. And that, because Happy didn't have his macro on point there in that battle, he loses all of his forces. He loses map control. And now he's forced to play, once again, a defensive game. And there are Ultralisks coming pretty soon as well. TLO going for Ultra Cavern, 3-3. Adrenal Glands, I mean, rounding up the tier 3 tech. And really, I think if Happy loses this game, I think you have to blame Happy's macro in that battle. He was not very good about macroing his army out. And now TLO, you know, doing a good job of continuing to keep the Terran on 3 bases. He knows if he continues to, you know, keep this up, he's just going to starve Happy out. And there won't be much that Happy can do about it. Some Banelings are going to roll in through the left, taking out a command center. I guess, sure, why not? Keep the opponent on 3 bases is the name of the game here, even if it costs you a bunch of Banelings. That's what happened. That's what TLO just did. And now, look at the map. You know, the entire north side of the map, even the center, is completely filled by teal and purple colors. Creep and the Zerg. And Happy just kind of has his little remote southern corner of the map. He has basically been run out of town, and TLO is just making sure that the Terran does not get a 4th expansion. If he continues to play like this, I don't know what Happy is going to be able to do. But Happy is sitting back. He's almost maxed out once again. He's going to need to make a big concerted push here to get some momentum going for him, try to reclaim the center of the map and get the 4th and 5th expansion down. That's what he needs to do. He's starting to poke out a little bit with these Marines, but he's got to be careful. There's just so many Banelings. And there's actually some Zerglings over here as well. But TLO is not going to commit there. Oh, he's going to make them into Banelings first. Pretty smart. If you can just crash through here with all those Banelings, you could probably destroy this area, this expansion. But it looks like Happy is going to come through and clear out the eggs. And now the mutas come in as well. And the Ultras and Infestors have made their way through into the game. So now the pressure is really on Happy because he's dealing with a tier 3 Zerg who has Ultra Infestor. And this is one of the hardest things for Terrans to deal with. You know, Widow Mines aren't that great against Ultralisks because Ultras are just so beefy. A lot of times the mines don't even hit the Ultras, to be quite honest with you guys. So this is a big problem now for Happy, but I've got to say, Happy is still in this game. He's Terran, he's maxed almost nearly, he still has 3 bases, and he still has, you know, tier 3 for himself as well. If he pushes out, he can do a lot of damage, and obviously the little one cannot afford to attack into the Terran. He has to wait for the Terran to come out. If he goes and attacks, he's just going into, you know, the prepared Widow Mines, the ramps, the walls, everything here just completely favors Happy. And that's why TLO doesn't want to, you know, send everything in, because he knows it can be a costly error. He's just going to wait until Happy's forced to come out and claim another expansion. And I really like that strategy. Why not? In fact, he's going to steal an expansion now, which I think is a great idea. You know, really punish Happy here for playing such a turtle style. Now look at all these SCVs, they're just going to go down. But I think Happy wanted to sacrifice workers there. Happy now in the business of killing off civilians to make a bigger army. So, you know, it's a good idea, because I think what Happy's gearing up for here is one big push. I think he realizes that he's lost the late game, so all he's gonna have going for him is one epic push, and he's gonna try to have the biggest army possible. That's why he threw away his SCVs, because he's not playing to get a 4th base now. He's just gonna mine this expansion out, and he's gonna go for it. We'll see if he's gonna have enough to get the job done. He's sending out more SCVs. He's actually gonna kill off all of his SCVs here. Look at, I mean, the TLO just controls everything on the map. It's crazy. I'm surprised TLO is actually helping him out. I would almost say don't kill them off, although it's pretty hard. I mean, as soon as those SCVs come near your army, your ultras and banelings are just gonna go after them. More SCVs coming out. Wow, this is just the weirdest strategy. Oh, sorry, the weirdest strategy I have ever seen. And Happy has this is like the draft, man. He's drafting all of his, you know, SCVs to go out and just die. And I mean, Happy is, you know, he's gonna be able to max out purely on army. This is gonna be crazy. And if Happy wins this game due to this strategy, this will just be the sickest, I mean, sickest way to win ever. I think TLO will literally puke in his mouth. But TLO, one thing he can do to shore up his chances of winning this game is just build 1 million spine crawlers. And I think that's what he's doing. Look, he's building a bunch of crawlers over here. I think he's going to rely on holding on to this expansion if it comes down to it. Obviously, Overseer's coming in here because now TLO's like, what's going on? Like, what are you doing? You know, why aren't you going for a 4th expansion? And he's trying to figure out exactly what the hell is happening. I think almost all the SCVs have gone down. There's only like 5 SCVs alive, and look, TLO realizes, he knows now, okay, that's your strategy, then my strategy is gonna be to sacrifice all my drones into spine crawlers. Very smart. But here comes Happy. Oh my god, this is gonna be epic. And oh my god, the ultras and the smutas and the banelings are all getting ready. Look at how big this Terran army is. It's absolutely massive. It's oversupplied Terran army, and TLO actually in a lot of trouble. I don't think he has enough here. He's gonna try to send everything in. Oh, fungal galore. Ultra's getting bottled up, but the fungals do land, and oh my god, TLO has to pull back. TLO didn't have enough, but he has the second wave coming through. Banelings crashing through the Terran army, and Happy has to GG. Oh, that was so sick. That was one of the craziest endings ever, and I cannot believe that for a second there I thought Happy was gonna pull it off, but then the second wave of banelings came through and really cleaned that up. That was great, and we are gonna go right into game 3. It is tied up now 1-1 apiece. Hope you guys enjoyed, and this is HD signing out.